Hey y'all, welcome to Child's Cuisines. Today we're making a surf and turf. Now we're going to start with two steaks. You can have any steak you want, whatever is your favorite, you can use that. I'm going to start by marinating the steak. So we're going to put a little bit of oil on it. I use coconut oil, but you can use olive oil. And then I'm just going to season it up. I will have these ingredients listed down below. And you can salt to taste. I didn't use all of my sea salt that I had measured. I'm just going to pat that in. You want it to soak in there. And then I'm just going to repeat the same steps on the next side. Like I said, I use coconut oil, so that is what you see. I use some seasonings like garlic powder, onion powder, sea salt, chili powder, a little bit of black pepper. Oh, and of course, Jamaican allspice. And we're going to sit this in the refrigerator after we're done for about 10 minutes while we continue on cooking the rest of our meal. Now, as you can see, I'm just boiling my potatoes, and once they're done, I'm just going to drain them and start working on our mashed potatoes. So while that is draining, I'm going to start in deshelling our lobster claws. Now, to make it easier, I cut the lobster claws on each side and then removed it. So fresh and beautiful. Now with our mashed potatoes, I released all that water and I'm just going ahead and mash that up. Now I like my mashed potatoes a little thicker when I'm layering on my plates, but you can also make it however you like it. And you can also add more hot cream if you need to, and melted butter. Now with the mashed potatoes, I'm adding some warm heavy cream, and at the end I will add a little bit more to make it a little bit more moist. I'm seasoning with a little bit of garlic powder, a little sea salt, and of course black pepper, and some onion powder. This time I just added the butter in there, and I'm going to let it melt as I mix it in. And I add some sour cream as well. Now after that, just add some roasted garlic, and we're going to mix that in until it's fully incorporated. Now like I said, you can add some more heavy cream to make it a little bit more creamier. It depends on your liking. Now in a preheated skillet, I'm going to add some melted butter. I'm going to go ahead and work on my lobster claws and let this just simmer. Now with my broccolini, I did clean it and let it dry a little bit. I'm just going to blanch my broccolini for about 7 to 10 minutes, depending on your liking. Now, once that butter is melted in your pan, add in your lobster claws. And we're just going to bring this to a slight boil and then turn it down on simmer while we're cooking the rest of our meal. Add in some lemon juice. Now I used light balanced butter which has a little bit of salt in it. We're just going to simmer this for a good 6 minutes. Now in another pan, we're going to go ahead and add in some heavy cream. And we're making our seafood sauce. Once that's brought to a slight boil, go ahead and season it. Garlic powder, obey seasoning, a little bit of cornstarch to thicken it up, mix that in together and let it come to a slight boil. And once it does, go ahead and turn it on a simmer and cover it. I added a little bit of sazon seasoning for the coloring. Now, once your sauce thickens up some, we're going to go ahead and chop up some fresh parsley, and we're going to add that into our sauce. And as your sauce sits, it will thicken up more. Now, in a cast iron that's preheated, we're going to add in some olive oil. Now it's time to sear our steaks. Make sure you take your steak out a minute early so it can, so it's not so cold. And we're just going to sear these for a good 2 to 3 minutes on each side. The reason being is because we're going to preheat our oven on 350 and add this in the oven for a couple minutes. Now cook your steak to your liking. I like mine about between medium and medium well. So I will cook it on each side for about 3 minutes and then in the oven for a good 10 minutes. I add lemon for some flavor. Now you can add garlic and rosemary, but for this dish, I didn't add that. Now once I flip it, I'm going to add in some butter and let that melt. Now this creates a beautiful flavor. Now once that melts, we're just going to keep layering that on top of our steak. Just drown it in the steak. This recipe is so simple and easy. Now once it's done for those 3 minutes, we're just going to put it in a baking pan and bake it, like I said, for about 10 minutes. After that, we're just going to layer it on our plate. And I like to, for plating purposes, just a little bit more sauce on top. I love my stuff juicy.